Hello, this is Japanese Economic Review channel. Today, we're going to break down the latest numbers from a really key report on the nation's economic health. Okay, so let's dive right into this. We're looking at the Consumer Confidence Survey for December 2025. This was just released this month. That's January 2026, by Japan's Cabinet Office. And this report gives us a fantastic, direct look into the mindset of households all across the country. All right, so if there's one single number you need to focus on in this whole report, it's this one, the Consumer Attitude Index. And for December 2025, that big headline number is 37.2. So what does this number actually tell us? Well, think of it like a temperature check on how consumers are feeling. And this month, it shows a slight dip. It's actually down 0.3 points from November. So after a nice little jump a month ago, things seem to have cooled off just a bit as we head into the new year. Now, to really understand what's going on behind that small decline, we've got to look under the hood of the main index. See, it's not just one big number about a single feeling. It's actually made up of several key components. So this main index, it's an average of how people feel about 4 different parts of their economic lives, looking ahead over the next 6 months. You can think of them as the 4 key pillars holding up that overall sentiment. And here's where it gets really interesting. When you look at the breakdown for December, it is a real mixed bag. On one hand, people are actually feeling slightly more confident about their income growing in the future. That was the only component that went up. But on the other hand, they're feeling a bit worse about their overall livelihood, the job market, and, look at that, a pretty big drop in their willingness to buy big-ticket items like cars or appliances. And it's so important to remember, these aren't just some abstract numbers. They come from thousands of real households across Japan answering some very, very direct questions. The survey is literally asking people to look into their crystal ball and predict the future for their own wallets. They're asked about everything from whether their livelihood will get better to if now is a good time to buy a new fridge. This is the real human experience that gets boiled down into the data we just saw. All right, let's switch gears to the second major part of this survey, what people expect is going to happen with prices. And this is a huge factor in how people behave. The survey also asks households this absolutely critical question. Over the next year, what do you think is going to happen to the price of all the stuff you buy? And while the results are just overwhelming, as you can see, a massive 91.8% of households are bracing for prices to go up. I mean, very, very few people think things will stay the same or, get this, actually fall. In fact, if you dig into that data, the single most common answer wasn't just that prices will rise, it's that they will rise by 5% or even more. That is a significant inflation expectation sitting at the household level. And this isn't some new thing either. When you look at the historical data in the report, this strong expectation of rising prices has been a really consistent trend for years now. It's almost a baked-in feature of the consumer mindset. So, okay, we've got the numbers, but why does this monthly survey matter so much? Let's zoom out and talk about the big picture, about why this is such a closely watched report. This survey is so much more than just a temperature check on the public mood. It is considered a vital signal for where the economy might be headed next. It's what economists call a leading economic indicator. Basically, how people feel today translates into economic reality tomorrow. When people feel confident, they open their wallets, right? And that spending drives the economy. When they're nervous, they save up. And that can really put the brakes on things. That is why everyone, from car companies to the central bank, pays such close attention to these numbers. And that leaves us with this final, really fascinating question as we look ahead. We've got this contradiction. People are a little less confident overall, but they're still optimistic about their own paychecks getting bigger. So what does this tension between general pessimism and personal optimism really mean for the economic path ahead in 2026? It's something we'll definitely be watching very closely. Thank you for watching the Japanese Economic Review. We look forward to having you with us again.